In chapter 10, we see a couple of tortoises as the class pets. This is my tortoise, Flash. And Flash is going to be listening to the story today. Chapter 10, Benny and Bjornita. Good afternoon, parents, said Mr. Carter. Even though this was parents' open afternoon, and the point was to make parents feel happy about school, he said it in a more or less a tone of the same voice he'd used in assembly. So most of the mums and dads immediately looked a little bit scared. Are there any sandwiches? Whispered Eric Stone, father of Ellie and Fred, to his wife. No, Eric, hissed Janine. It's not a greasy spoon calf, it's a school. Thank you all for coming today, continued Mr. Carter. He's the new head teacher. A fair few of you have turned up, which is good, although I shall be sending letters to those parents who haven't. Blimey, said Tina Ward under her breath, exchanging a glance with Susan Bennett, Barry's mum. I don't like his attitude. Thank God we made it, said Jeff, Barry's dad. It is my intention, as I'm sure your children, Mr. Carter gestured behind him, where years 2 to 6 were standing in a series of neat, by Brackenwood standards, lines. Well, I've told you by now, it's my intention to transform this establishment into a school that you can send your children to. And also one that won't get another inadequate off-head rating, whispered Jackie Bailey, Malcolm's mum. Why BBI, said Libby, Malcolm's teenage sister, who had been dragged along by her mum and was, as ever, bored. She spoke mainly in acronyms. This one meant you'd better believe it. Yes, said Mr. Carter, you had better believe it. Libby looked a bit shocked at that she'd heard, and they understood. Oh yes, Libby Bailey, I've checked all the files. I know you used to go here, but no doubt you learnt to speak mainly in initials, because you didn't learn enough English when you were here. That is my opinion. Hey, said Libby, TITLU, which means that is totally unfair. But, continued Mr. Carter, ignoring her, this is all going to change. So we're going to go into the school in a minute. But first, some children from the lower school are going to do a little performance about school pets. This is where the tortoises come into it. 2 reception pupils, a boy and a girl, came forward holding a box. They were followed by Miss Finch in a very nice dress. They made her look like the Gruffalo in a very nice dress. And a smiling Miss Gerard. It was lovely that she was smiling, although this did mean that you could see her teeth, which were particularly red wine stained today, which might have also been why she wasn't walking very steadily. The children put the box on front of the table. The girl turned to the parents and in their loudest voice said, the school pets are 2 tortoises. We got them from Orwell Farm to look after. Then the reception boy said, but so quietly almost you couldn't hear it, their names are Benny and Bjorn, which a long, long time ago would have named the 2 men in the band called ABBA. Yes, said the girl, so loudly made Eric Stone jump. ABBA, although the one called Bjorn is actually a girl. She is a girl. We're going to take them out for a little talk about what tortoises eat and how long they live and the best way to look after them. The quiet reception boy lifted up the female tortoise and the loud reception girl lifted up the male tortoise. There was a short pause and nobody said anything. Mr. Carter frowned. Miss Gerard went, eh? Mr. Barrington took off his enormous glasses, and all the parents and all the pupils, except the 2 holding the tortoises who just looked confused, started to laugh, because the male tortoise was wearing a pair of underpants and the female was wearing knickers and a bra. And there are the tortoises there. When I say wearing, I mean is that Benny, the male tortoise, had a pair of underpants, classic Y fronts, size small, draped across his shell. His little legs were actually poking through the holes where legs are meant to go. And Bjorn, the female tortoise, was wearing a pair of flowery knickers in the same way, but above them, across her upper half, there was a small bra such as which might have been worn by a Barbie. The whole image of the 2 tortoises wearing underwear was made worse, or better, depending on how you looked at it, by both children deciding to hold the tortoises up with their bellies facing the parents. I should stress at this point that neither tortoise looked at all bothered by this. Bjorn, in particular, looked quite pleased about the outfit. It made her look more like a lady, more as if her name should perhaps be Bjornita. Mr. Carter, however, did not look pleased at all. Stop laughing, he shouted at the children. They did immediately. Mr. Carter turned round. I said, he snarled at the parents, stop laughing. They also stopped immediately. You could have heard a pin drop. It looked as if the new head teacher's threatening power had got the situation under control. He turned back to the two reception children, terrified by now, still holding up the pair of tortoises. They were shaking a little, which is possibly why, at this point, Benny's white front slipped slowly off his little body and fell into a pile beneath him. Bjorn's little head turned to look, and everyone, parents, children and teachers alike, fell about laughing again. Everyone, that is, except for Mr. Carter, who, after looking around with contempt at all the hysteria, picked up the underpants and looked inside the waistband. "Ryan Ward," he said in a terrifying tone. "My office, now!"